After a bit of a slow start to the year, 2024's best update so far has been announced. Get ready for the Taken Treasures event because it's a doozy. Talking new Pokemon, new Shadow Legendary Pokemon. It's on, my friends. The Taken Treasure event is going down from Saturday, January 27th at 12 a.m. to Thursday, February 1st at 11:59 p.m. local time. These are very weird start and stop times. I'm not exactly sure why. The new Pokemon releasing will be the one and only Varoom and Revavroom, and it will be exclusively available in the 12-kilometer eggs. Now, before anybody complains, this does make a lot of sense considering this event because it is a super Team Rocket focused event, and obviously the 12-kilometer eggs are only really accessible via the Team Rocket feature in Pokemon GO. So it makes sense, and we haven't really had a new Pokemon come to the 12-kilometer eggs in kind of a long time. So super fun that there's just like an extra Pokemon to hunt there, but also understanding that it is a bit of an expensive and difficult hunt to do the 12-kilometer eggs. So the question is Revavroom even worth the grind? Here's how it will be in Pokemon GO. It's gonna be a dual steel and poison type with a max CP of 3,337. So even if it's not like great as a raid boss counter, it might actually be really good in PvP, especially with that dual move typing. So we'll have to see if it's worth it, but could be a pretty good Pokemon. The event bonuses are super Team Rocket-y as expected, and they will be. Team Go Rocket will be appearing more frequently at Pokestops and in the balloons. And as always, during these Team Go Rocket events, the #1 feature ever, the ability to TM Frustration off of your Shadow Pokemon is back. Although I will say, we went from getting like 1 of these events a year to like 7 a year. So although this is a great feature and it is super duper necessary if you have Shadow Pokemon that you want to use in PvP or in raids, this feature comes around quite a bit. So even if you miss this, don't worry, it will be back. But it is really important to take advantage of it while it's here. So if you do have really good Shadow Pokemon with Frustration on them, kind of like my Shadow Shiny Dragonite, I think still is Frustration, well, right now is going to be a great time during this event to be able to get that off so you can actually use these super duper meta relevant Pokemon. But again, this feature comes around quite a bit, so, you know. Okay, we have a new Shadow Legendary Pokemon dropping. This one I'm really excited about. So starting at the beginning of this event, there's basically the seasonal research going on, and you can finally progress through it to the end of it, I'm pretty sure, with this feature, with this update. And getting to the end of the season research will give you a Super Rocket Radar, which lets you go out and battle Pizza Boy Giovanni and catch the brand new Shadow Legendary, which will be, drumroll please, Kyogre. Why I'm wearing blue. It's not why I'm wearing blue, just kind of happened to happen that way. Yes, this amazing Shadow Legendary is finally coming to Pokemon GO, and it might be worth catching and might be worth getting Frustration off of it. You see, regular Kyogre, obviously it has the Primal version, which is like the #1 overall water type, but you cannot Mega or Primal evolve Shadow Pokemon. But regular Kyogre is the 6th best water type overall in game, so the likelihood of Shadow Kyogre being much better, it's most likely what's going to happen. Definitely think we could see Shadow Kyogre crack the top 3 as a water type, and in PvP, it might also be super useful. So if you've been saving your Super Rocket Radars to get a really good Shadow Legendary Pokemon, now's your time. But remember that powering up Shadow Pokemon, especially Shadow Legendaries, costs way more Stardust and way more candies. So if you do want to get this, which I will for sure be getting, make sure to stack up on Stardust as much as you can, catch Pokemon, do PvP, and save as many Kyogre or rare candies as possible because it will take a lot to power this bad boy up. In the Shadow Raids, we're gonna have another amazing Shadow Legendary Pokemon, and one that could be shiny for the first time ever, Ho-Oh. Shadow Ho-Oh will be in the 5-star Shadow Raids starting Saturday, January 27th at 6 a.m. to Sunday, January 28th at 10 o'clock p.m. local time. It's really gonna only be out for like a little bit over 24 hours, so if you want to get this amazing Shadow Legendary, Shiny Legendary, hunt it. As a fire type, it ranks 13th overall, which is pretty decent, and in the Masters League PvP, it's ranked 12th. So it's a really, really good Shadow Legendary Pokemon in general. And then obviously it is one that can be shiny. I don't think I've ever caught a Shadow Shiny Legendary because I don't like record on the weekends or play much. I'm like a weekday kind of grinder, you know, 9 to 5er. So if you don't have a Shadow Legendary, neither do I, but this one might be one worth getting. Speaking of Shadow Shinies, the team leaders will be getting brand new Shadow Shiny Pokemon, which means if you have not caught your Shadow Shiny Dratini from Cliff, I'd recommend going for it because it's one of the best in a while. Now, we have no idea which Shadow Shiny Pokemon the team leaders are going to get when this update comes out, but when it happens, I will report it here on the channel, so make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. But we do have an idea of some new Shadow Pokemon that will be coming out during the event, and they include Shadow Corphish, Shadow Snorunt, Shadow Chimchar, Shadow Piplup, Shadow Krogunk, Shadow Dwebble, and Shadow Ferroseed. Definitely might end up being a couple of meta-relevant Pokemon in this list, so keep updated. The raids for this event will include, in the 1-star raids, we've got Alolan Rattata, Alolan Meowth, Alolan Grimer, and Galarian Zigzagoon. The 3-star raids will have Weezing, Galarian Weezing, Tyranitar, and Bombardier. And then in the Shadow raids, we will have Alolan Sandshrew, Shadow Murkrow, Shadow Pineco, and Shadow Krogunk. And the 1-star raids, with Shadow Murkrow and Shadow Pineco being able to be Shadow Shiny. And in the 3-star Shadow raids, we'll have Scyther, Skarmory, and Golett, with Scyther being the one that can be Shiny. Okay, that's a lot of raid bosses, and raids obviously aren't cheap. Which ones should you focus on? For the normal raids, Tyranitar. Not only is it super meta relevant, but it can be Shiny in the raids because the Mega form came out, so like, it's kind of cool if you can catch a Shadow or a Shiny Tyranitar. Also, Tyranitar has a Mega, which is the number 3 overall rock type in the entire game. Super useful, and as a Shadow, it is fairly decent in the Masters League, so just great candy to get overall. And remember, by catching Tyranitar, you do get a lot more Larvitar candy and XL candy. In the Shadow raids, the best target is going to be Shadow Scyther. Its evolution, Shadow Scizor, is the 7th best bug type overall, and obviously it can be Shiny, so that's amazing. Special hatches for this event will be really only Varoom, the brand new Pokemon Varoom in the 12-kilometer eggs. And the field research is actually going to be stacked. It's going to be rewarding mysterious components and TMs, which is a great way to get more mysterious components, which when you get 6, you get a Rocket Radar. And with a Rocket Radar, you can go out and obviously get the brand new Shadow Shiny Pokemon from the team leaders. So if you want to grind the team leaders without spending 200 Pokecoins per encounter, look for the field research that gives you the free mysterious components. And the Pokemon encounters in the field research will include Ekans, Zubat, Coughing, Paldean Wooper, Hisuian Quillfish, Poochyena, Sableye, Krogunk, Scraggy, Marini, Bruxish, and Nimble. And it was announced that the Pokemon in the field research will have a higher likelihood of being shiny than the Pokemon caught in the wild, which maybe is a new update. From my understanding, the field research shiny Pokemon rates are the same as the wild rates, so I might be wrong, but if they brought that up for the field research, that's very exciting. It makes sense just because field research is a bit more grindy than finding a Pokemon in the wild, but it allows you to target hunt specific Pokemon, which is nice if you're looking for a specific shiny. Speaking of target hunting Pokemon, out of the field research, which ones should you target hunt? Scraggy. It's a very rare Pokemon, it's a very hard to get shiny, and its evolution, Scrafty, ranks 34th in the Great League and 51st in the Ultra League, so it is useful. Sableye, another amazing and pretty rare shiny, and it has a Mega, which makes it fairly useful. Paldean Wooper. Now, I know it had a semi-recent community day, but if you didn't get a chance to play that, this is a great way to get this amazing newer Pokemon and newer shiny, and its evolution, Clodsire, ranks 19th in the Great League, so also very useful. Marini. I never thought I'd be saying catch Marini, but its evolution, Toxapex, ranks 27th in the Great League, so if you're a PvPer, this one's useful for you. And there will also be a $5 USD paid timed research that will give the following: Stardust XP, 1 Incense, 1 Incubator, 3 Silver Pineapple Berries, more encounters with event-themed Pokemon, and an event-themed avatar pose. So, as always, the question with these timed research, is it worth spending the money on? Honestly, if you're paying $5 USD and you're really only getting like Stardust XP, what, 1 Incense, 1 Incubator, Silver Pineapple Berries, and like an avatar I'm not really sure. It really depends on how much XP and Stardust you get and how many encounters with Pokemon you get, and obviously which encounters those are. Because usually the $1 timed research or the $2 timed paid timed research is typically possibly worth it because you get like a ton of Pokemon encounters that all could be shiny. So I don't know, $5 is kind of a lot of money, and if you're really only getting like a star piece and an incense and an incubator, it's not really worth it, but we'll have to see. But definitely an exciting event, especially if you like to grind Team Rocket, which has become one of the most kind of like interesting parts of Pokemon Go lately, especially since remote raids have obviously like kind of ceased to exist. So good luck on your Team Go Rocket grind. Let me know in the comments what you're looking for in this event, and check out the other videos on screen. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Goodbye.